Poor brothers and sisters in the Lord, our devotional passage is taken from the book of Hebrews chapter 12 verses 1 to 3. And it says there, "Therefore, since we are surrounded by such a great cloud of witnesses, let us throw off everything that hinders and the sin that so easily entangles, and let us run with perseverance the race marked out for us, fixing our eyes on Jesus, the pioneer and perfecter of faith. For the joy set before him, he endured the cross, scorning its shame, and sat down at the right hand of the throne of God. Consider him who endured such a position from sinners, so that you and I will not grow weary and lose heart." Before we begin, let me ask you a question. Have you ever been in a race before, whether it is a game or a competition? So a race is something that has a finish line, and as we run, we have a goal to achieve and we have a lot of preparation to take. In verse 1, we can see how the author addressed to the believers the importance of laying aside the weights and the sins of this world. Sin hold us back from running the race the Lord has set before us. We cannot run carrying the weight of this world, the hindrances that makes it difficult for us to see through the way to run effectively. We are surrounded by many witnesses, whether from heaven or on earth. The author wants us to have a good testimony towards those people that see us and observe the way we live. We also have to run with perseverance because there will be many obstacles and rocks that we will be running through. In verse 2, the author points out to fix our eyes upon Jesus as we run the race. It's difficult to finish the race while we focus how long the race might be or on the competitors. We will be easily discouraged. But if we trust God along the way, we will surely get to the finish line. He is our supreme example to follow. In our Christian life, there will be many circumstances wherein there are some things or people that might be a stumbling block in our walk. But if we will remember how Jesus despised the shame on the cross, we will run with joy knowing our Savior really did a good fight of faith. In verse 3, as we can see, believers are not promised a good life. We will all face persecutions and hardships as we walk with Christ. But if we will consider Jesus in everything we do, we will not have a reason to be discouraged in our walk with Him. Indeed, if we suffer with Him. That is in Romans chapter 8 verse 17. God doesn't ask more of what He has experienced. Many Christians nowadays fail to run the race with perseverance and joy because they do not lay aside their sins and weights they are carrying. Many Christians stumble because they do not fix their eyes upon Jesus in the race. Many stop amidst the way. Many stop long before the race begins. So here's the question for each one of us. What kind of runner are you? Or are we? Would you give up the race now because life is hard? Would you give up now that you are already part of the ministry? Would you give up now that God already called you for His glory? Galatians 5:7 speaks out, "You were running the race so well. Who has held you back from following the race?" We were strong before. What happened with our faith right now? If you give up now because you are persecuted, because others criticize you, because you displease others, then how small is your faith? Brothers and sisters, God has a promise for you and me. He will never leave you nor forsake you in the race. If you are discouraged now, God will with you in the race. He will accompany you until you hear the words, "Well done, my good and faithful servant." If only you will entrust your life with Him and endure the race He has set before you. God bless us all.